Chapter 177 The Tang sect completely dominates throughout all eternity. Huro Yua nodded and said, Teacher, don't worry. I won't lose Shrek's face. I believe that I'll leave a black mark in the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's history in the next 3 days. Fanu laughed as he admonished him, don't be too complacent either. With the current stakes, we won't be able to pay our debts if you lose within 10 rounds. We'll need to request a large amount directly from the academy. Huro Yua laughed. Teacher, you've given so much effort to nurture me. Aren't you confident in me? Fanu smiled and replied, it's not that. I'm just warning you not to be careless. A lion only beats the rabbit by using all his strength. Yes. Huro Yua looked at Fanu seriously and acknowledged his words. The Soul Tool Experimentation Area was the largest building in the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, and could hold more than 10,000 people. It had a similar architectural to the Shrek Academy's Beast Dueling Arena. There was a huge arena in the building, and was surrounded by seats that extended nearly all the way to back of the building. It was normally used by the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy students for their tests, competitions, and experimenting on large soul tools. Between the spectator seats and the central arena, there was a linked defense system that was made up of many defensive soul tools. This linked defense system demonstrated how advanced the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy was in terms of their soul tools. They just needed a sufficiently strong Soul Master to control the entire defense system. The only prerequisite for the Soul Master was that his soul power had to be at a certain standard. Although it was only morning, the entire Soul Tool Experimentation Area was full. There were close to 12,000 teachers and students present, including some from the illustrious Virtue Hall. It wasn't just the students who wanted to see the differences between how Soul Masters and Soul Engineers fought. Even the teachers were curious. The academy had suspended lessons for 3 days for the sake of this sparring competition. Jing Hengchen hadn't attended, as there were too many things that he needed to see to. Lin Jie, on the other hand, was responsible for hosting the competition. To Jing Hengchen, it didn't matter how long Huro Yua managed to last in the competition. No matter what, the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy was bound to benefit from it. The camaraderie between their students would increase, and they would also learn more about the differences between Soul Masters and Soul Engineers. It would be an exciting lesson for the students. Due to a lack of seats, the students who arrived late had to sit among the aisles, or stand in between the rows. Fortunately, the arena was large enough to accommodate everyone. As the referee, Lin Jie also made a lot of deliberations. He finally chose to invite Sun Zwen, firstly because of Sun Zwen's teacher-student relationship with Huro Yua, and secondly because of Sun Zwen's abilities. Initially, Lin Jie thought that Sun Zwen would decline his offer. However, Sun Zwen agreed readily after listening to his proposition. His reasoning was also very simple. He wanted to see how strong his student was in terms of fighting strength as a Soul Master. When Huro Yua first came, he personally taught a lesson to a few Class 5 Soul Engineers. Sun Zwen also knew that the students were making their own private bets. The odds were 3 to 1 that he couldn't survive 10 rounds, 2 to 1 that he couldn't survive 20 rounds, and 30 to 100 that he couldn't survive 50 rounds. Those who offered such odds were clearly confident that Huro Yua could win 50 consecutive rounds. Why were Shrek Academy's students so confident? It's important to know that Huro Yua only had 4 rings. Even if he rested between rounds, he still needed to fight for a long period of time. The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy wasn't a small academy either. Even if the illustrious Virtue Hall students didn't participate, Huro Yua was bound to collapse from 3 days of intense fighting. And once he lost 1 round, he might not have the ability to carry on further. All right, please quiet down. Lin Jie's imposing voice resonated throughout the entire arena through a sound-amplifying soul tool. The excited students who were engaged in discussions immediately started to quiet down and turn their attention to him. Lin Jie continued, for the purpose of strengthening our exchange and interaction, the academy has decided to organize this sparring competition. Shrek is sending out Huro Yua, an exchange student who once competed in the Elite Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament. I hope that all of you will do your best to observe this competition. Even if you aren't involved in it, try your best to sense the differences between Soul Masters and Soul Engineers, as well as deepen your own understanding of them. The referee for this friendly exchange will be Teacher Sun Zwen, and I'll be the host. Let's welcome Shrek Academy's Huro Yua onto the stage. A tunnel at the side of the arena opened slowly, and students wearing the dark green uniform of Shrek emerged alongside Teacher Fanu. There was a huge commotion, because Shrek Academy's 10 exchange students had all appeared at this point. Most of the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy students had never seen Huro Yua before, thus they had to guess who among them was the one who dared to challenge the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy students all by himself. Rumors often spread the fastest. For example, news of Huro Yua's conflict with the Academy's Class 5 Soul Engineers and his 4-ring cultivation had already spread like wildfire. Based on these rumors, he sounded capable of representing Shrek Academy in the sparring competition. Lin Jie was also stunned. There weren't too many rules, since this was just a friendly exchange, and was why he hadn't communicated too much with Fanu beforehand. After all, it was only Huro Yua who was competing. Why had the Shrek Academy exchange students changed into Shrek Academy's uniform? It was clear that they were drawing a line between the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. Were they deliberately causing trouble? Lin Jie had never thought of this before the competition began. After all, this was the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's territory. There were only 11 Shrek Academy personnel here. What trouble could they possibly cause? Would they really dare to cause trouble? However, it was a little late for him to realize that something was amiss. Shrek Academy hadn't been provided a sound amplifying soul tool. All the emceeing was to be done by Lin Jie, which was also an arrangement that he'd made. If he sensed that something was amiss, he was prepared to ask the irrelevant personnel to leave the arena and immediately begin the competition. However, what he was worried about happened before he even had the chance to open his mouth. Fanu walked straight over to the resting area, but the other 9 students didn't follow suit. The 9 of them divided into 3 groups and then quickly got into team formations. There were 4 to Huro Yua's left and 4 to his right, while Iketu stood behind him. Afterwards, 3 scrolls drifted into view for all of the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering students to see. The scroll displayed by the students on Huro Yua's left held a string of words that said, Shrek, number 1, in the world, invincible. The scroll displayed by the students on his right said, Tang sect, complete, dominance, throughout, all eternity. Iketu stood behind Huro Yua and lifted a horizontal scroll that said, Come fight us if you're unconvinced. A huge uproar ensued after the 3 scrolls were presented. The 9 students in the formation quickly revolved around Huro Yua and allowed the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy to clearly see who Huro Yua was. A huge uproar erupted, with some students even wanting to fire their soul tools towards the arena. Expletives rang out across the entire place. Silence, silence. Lin Jie roared furiously. Teachers, please restrain your students. The competition is about to begin. Irrelevant personnel, please remove yourselves from the arena. He felt extremely depressed. He hadn't expected Shrek Academy students to pull such a stunt. Weren't they simply creating a ruckus on purpose? There were only 11 of them, and only Huro Yua was competing. Why were they trying to cause such a ruckus? Weren't they creating trouble out of nothing? However, things had already happened. The entire atmosphere of the competition was already starting to change. The entire Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy was bursting with emotion now. And the students who'd been seated had all stood up. Things seemed to be going out of control. However, Huro Yua appeared unbothered. He even lifted his right hand and slowly turned his thumb to point towards the ground. Even though he didn't utter a word, his provocation was clear. He was signaling for the other students to challenge him if they were unconvinced. Arrogant. He was too arrogant. Fortunately, the teachers managed to control their students well. The students were quickly restrained by the teachers. Furthermore, the entrance of the first Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy student helped stabilize the situation. Kill him. Send this Shrek country bumpkin back home. Long live the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. Long live the Sun Moon Empire. Humiliation like this can only be washed away with blood. I'll be the girlfriend of whoever beats him. All the spectators were causing a racket, but there were also those who remained silent, like KK and Xinyu. Sun Zwen had originally had 5 students. KK and Xinyu had entered the illustrious Virtue Hall when Huro Yua did, while Juzi had stopped her studies to join the military, and Wang Xiaojie had been expelled. Thus, there were only 3 students left out of the original 5. Since Huro Yua was the main character in this competition, KK and Xinyu also had to come. KK was worried, and she said, Huro Yua is too arrogant. Just what does he aim to accomplish? He's really made things serious. Won't he have a tough time in the academy when this is all over? Xinyu said softly, keep your voice down. We'll get into trouble if the others hear this. I think Yua is doing this on purpose. He just wants to study in the illustrious Virtue Hall normally. The ordinary students won't get chances to see him. Not to mention, he's also an exchange student. If anything happens to him when he's in the academy can't account for it either. He's doing this to humiliate the academy, and I don't know why Hallmaster agreed to allow this. KK glanced at him and asked, "Did you register too?" Xenu shook his head and answered, "I won't humiliate myself." KK twisted her lips and commented, "I didn't know that you were so self-aware. Didn't you work very hard over the past half year? Why aren't you confident in yourself?" Xenu laughed and replied, "Confidence rises with one's abilities. While I don't want to expose too much of mine right now, I'll beat him one day, but I can admit that I'm not his match at present. Although my improvement over the past half year has been significant, didn't he increase his number of rings from 3 to 4? While I don't understand why a twin martial soul master, is so strong, I know that I'm not his match. I simply need to work harder from now on." "Is there news from Juzi?" KK shook her head and said, "No, don't think about her anymore. Didn't she reject you before leaving?" Xenu chortled. "It's not that easy to forget someone you love. Moreover, you'll always have a chance if you work hard enough." KK's attention was drawn to the arena, and she said, "The competition is about to begin." The commotion in the spectators' stand didn't seem to affect Hua Yuao's concentration. He didn't even take a look at Sun Wen's displeased expression before moving to one side of the arena. He closed his eyes and waited. As a Soul Master, he greatly desired to fight. When he was immersed in Soul Tool creation every day and was under a lot of pressure in the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, he had a strong urge to vent this built-up pressure. Today was the best opportunity for him to let loose. He wanted to win this competition and reap the great rewards to prepare for his future research in Soul Tools. The future of Shrek Academy and the Tang Sect was his greatest motivation. He was only 15 years old, but he was shouldering a lot of responsibilities. He needed to vent his emotions. He also had another intention: help the Tang Sect gain momentum. Bei Bei had discussed this with Hua Yuao a couple of times. They reckoned that the Tang Sect's future development couldn't be separated from Soul Tools, but relying on Hua Yuao and K2 wasn't going to be enough. Where could one find plenty of talented Soul Engineers? The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. Hua Yuao wanted to leave a deep impression through this competition. At the very least, he wanted all the students to know about him, whether they liked him or not. Rather than being ignorant to his existence, their knowledge of him would be for the best. Furthermore, his arrogance actually contained a deeper meaning behind it. The first round is about to begin. Everyone, please remain silent and give both parties a peaceful competitions atmosphere. Whoever makes noises will be punished according to the school's rules and regulations. Lin Jai's stern voice reverberated all throughout the surroundings. This would help to contain a slightly messy situation. Hua Yuao's opponent was a youth, one who looked to be 18 or 19 years old. The badge on his chest revealed that he was a Class 5 Soul Engineer. However, he definitely seemed a little nervous now. While Hua Yuao's previous actions had provoked the students from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, they also put a lot of pressure on the competing students. If they won, they would be treated as the heroes of the academy, but if they lost, they would become sinners. This was even more evident so for the first student to spar with Hua Yuao, Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's Class 5 Soul Engineer, Xie Xuanqin. The nervous youth reported his name as he looked at Hua Yuao. The entire arena was now silent. Everyone's attention was focused on them. Shrek. Tang Sect. Hua Yuao said indifferently. Sun Zwen was unhappy when he looked at Hua Yuao. He said in a deep voice, "This is just for sparring, a friendly competition. Both parties must try to avoid severely hurting each other during the process." Hua Yuao could sense Teacher Sun staring at him and understood his intention. He nodded and replied, "Noted." Xie Xuanqin also nodded. By now, he'd calmed down slightly and slowly became excited. If he could defeat Hua Yuao, would his class bell treat him nicer? Maybe he could even enter the illustrious Virtue Hall directly. This was a great opportunity for him. Sun Zwen heaved a sigh of relief after receiving Hua Yuao's acknowledgement. He was afraid that Hua Yuao would harm the academy's students in this competition. A huge problem would arise if that happened. But, for now, it seemed like he had no such intentions. Both competitors, please approach the waiting areas, Sun Zwen said loudly. The Soul Tool experimentation area had already been marked out yesterday. The waiting areas on both sides were separated by about 150 meters. It was also a way for Soul Engineers to fully unleash their long-range capabilities. But, from what they agreed on earlier, Hua Yuao wouldn't use any Soul Tools apart from the milk bottle. Xie Xuanqin turned around and walked away. He only felt his surging blood rushing through his veins. He couldn't wait. Hua Yuao was different from him. He walked backwards and revealed a smirk of contempt. His first opponent really didn't seem too impressive. Although they were just sparring, he was careless enough to show his opponent his back. He didn't have any wariness towards his opponent. It seemed like Jing Hengchen was right, and organizing a sparring competition was necessary for these ordinary students from the academy. Sun Zwen also noticed this problem. That was why when both parties reached their waiting areas, he immediately shouted, "Begin!" Xie Xuanqin turned around frantically when he heard Sun Zwen's sudden shout. This was anyone's natural reaction. However, he wasted 2 seconds before he could fully turn around and ready his attack. Hua Yuao burst forth like a panther in these 2 seconds. He leapt up and seemed to be flying. When Xie Xuanqin finally reacted, the distance between the two of them had been reduced to 100 meters already. Xie Xuanqin displayed his abilities as an elite student of the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy even though he was shocked. He lifted his arms and 2 metal barrels appeared, with metal clanging sounds ringing out. His metal barrels were different from ordinary Soul Tool cannons and Soul Rays. They completely covered his arms, giving off the feeling that he had lost his arms and grown Soul cannons in their place. 2 different balls of light suddenly shot out. The left Soul Tool cannon fired a ball of yellow light, while the right fired a ball of red light. The speeds of the lights were also different, with the yellow light being markedly faster than the red. Before the lights were fired, a beep was heard from Xie Xuanqin's body. Hua Yuao's spiritual detection had already been activated back when they were preparing for the match. His greatest advantage in this sparring competition was that he was also a Soul Engineer, even though he was competing as a Soul Master. Thus, he was very familiar with them. However, the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's Soul Engineers knew nothing about his fighting strategies. Hence, Hua Yuao could immediately recognize the different effects of the balls of light. The yellow light came from a Class 5 shocked cannon, a domain type offensive Soul Tool. When their shots exploded at a high velocity, they would cause intense shockwaves. Opponents who weren't skilled enough could easily be torn apart by the shockwaves. Even if the opponent could resist them, his movements would be greatly stalled. It was a rather effective Class 5 Soul Tool, although it was very difficult to create. The red light, on the other hand, came from the high-powered Soul Cannon on his other arm. It only had one effect, destroying the opponent. It would lock onto an opponent through the opponent's soul power, allowing the cannon to track one's opponent. The combination of the shock cannon and high-powered soul cannon was effective and powerful. Evidently, Xie Xuanqin had prepared well. While this combination was effective, Hua Yuao had expected it. When the soul cannons were fired, Hua Yuao suddenly changed directions. He moved in a diagonal direction now. It was impressive, and when the shock cannon fired out the ball of yellow light, Hua Yuao was no longer within the area covered by it. The ball of red light that came shortly after that, however, it also changed directions quickly, and was in hot pursuit of Hua Yuao. But Hua Yuao didn't even look at it. He changed directions again and burst towards Xie Xuanqin. They were only 50 meters apart now. Wasn't he scared of the high-powered soul cannon? At this point, everyone was puzzled with Hua Yuao's intentions. Even Soul Emperors would find it uncomfortable to deal with high-powered soul cannons. Even a Class 5 protective soul barrier couldn't resist the elevated temperatures from a high-powered soul cannon. However, Hua Yuao acted like it was air. He continued to dash forward and didn't bother with the assault coming from the high-powered soul cannon. He quickly closed the gap between him and Xie Xuanqin. The homing red light finally arrived, but Hua Yuao stopped in the air just as it was about to hit him. Hua Yuao's figure turned blurry in that instant, and in the next, the high-powered soul cannon's attack brushed past Hua Yuao's body. How was that possible? Xie Xuanqin had clearly locked onto him. He was perplexed. A moment later, a loud boom was heard as an orange red light engulfed the area behind Hua Yuao. The tremendous explosive force catalyzed the formation of a mushroom cloud in the Soul Tool experimentation area. Hua Yuao's body was covered in a layer of diamond crystals. The Ice Empress armor. Intense shockwaves generated by the explosion propelled his body forward at a faster speed. His speed instantly soared, and he quickly arrived in front of Xie Xuanqin. Everything came too abruptly for Xie Xuanqin. He could only unleash his Class 5 protective soul barrier and frantically retreat. However, a Class 5 protective soul barrier was completely useless against the Dark Golden Terraclaws. It was instantly torn apart, and Hua Yuao destroyed his two soul cannons. Even so, Xie Xuanqin was not physically hurt in the process. The blades of the Terraclaws touched Xie Xuanqin's shoulders slightly, and their cold aura caused Goosebumps to rise. You've lost. Hua Yuao's Ice Empress armor disappeared. Even so, his calm and emotionless voice caused Xie Xuanqin to feel an extreme chill through his entire body. Xie Xuanqin was indignant as he exclaimed, "I haven't unleashed all my soul tools." Piak! Hua Yuao retracted his Terraclaws and slapped Xie Xuanqin, who spun twice and fell to the floor. Hua Yuao said coldly, "If this were a battlefield, you'd already be a corpse. Will your enemies care whether you've used all your soul tools?" Xie Xuanqin was dumbfounded as he sat on the floor. One of his hands was on his cheeks that were just slapped. He seemed to lose his awareness. Hua Yuao lifted his right hand and pointed his index finger at the spectators. Following that, he made one revolution before placing his finger on his lips. He was asking everyone to remain quiet. After that, he shouted, "Next." It was only at this point that the academy's teachers and students reacted. A commotion ensued once more. The first round ended not long after it starting. Approximately 10 seconds had passed. It seemed like Hua Yuao didn't even do anything. He only burst forward and slapped before he emerged victorious. He didn't use any dazzling soul skills, and the spectators didn't even see his soul rings. But he had won. He won cleanly. Did he really win that easily? It might appear very simple or easy, but was that really the case? Only Sun Zuen witnessed everything clearly as the referee. Firstly, Hua Yuao hadn't wasted any time. When Sun Zuen signaled the start of the competition, he was dissatisfied with Xie Xuanqin, and thus didn't wait for him to turn around or prepare. However, Hua Yuao burst forward like a fired cannon shell. Undoubtedly, Hua Yuao was ready. Sun Zuen wasn't too surprised when Hua Yuao used the Dark Golden Terraclaws to tear apart the protective soul barrier and overcome Xie Xuanqin. It was Hua Yuao's reaction when the shocked cannon was fired that shocked him. His direction changed immediately when the yellow light appeared, allowing him to dodge it effectively. How did he predict it like that? Furthermore, he had even managed to prevent the high-powered soul cannon from locking him onto him properly, and exploited the shockwave to increase his speed. If all of that was within his calculations, he was indeed to be feared. Do you need to rest? Sun Zuen asked Hua Yuao. Hua Yuao shook his head and replied, "No, let's continue." Their gazes met, and Hua Yuao could tell that Sun Zuen was deep in thought. Sun Zuen could see Hua Yuao's stubbornness in his spirit eyes, and sensed the strong competitive will in his body. Silence. A voice that sounded like rumbling thunder resonated through the Soul Tool experimentation arena. This voice greatly eclipsed the commotion that had ensued from Xie Xuanqin's defeat. Even Hua Yuao couldn't help but look into the air. Jing Hengchen floated in midair without using any flying type soul tools. He was also looking at Hua Yuao. Lin Jiayi had sent someone to report to Jing Hengchen when he realized that the situation was getting out of control. After all, the teachers in the audience were all very strong, and he couldn't really control those from the illustrious Virtue Hall either. Jing Hengchen placed his hands behind his back, and his awe-inspiring gaze swept the place. He said coldly, "Are all of you only this good? Besides cursing, what else can you do? It's better to prove yourself using your abilities, not your mouth. If you're capable, beat him. If you're not, then shut up." The purpose of this sparring contest is to show the gap between him and all of you. Don't think you're invincible just because you've learned how to use some advanced soul tools. This brat from Shrek Academy is only 15 years old. Failure isn't scary. The scary thing is inability to accept one's defeat and remaining ignorant of your failure. If all of you can only whine, when will the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy ever beat Shrek Academy in the Elite Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament? Jing Hengchen's reputation was extremely prominent in the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. His appearance silenced crowd instantly. Hua Yuao furrowed his brow. Jing Hengchen was indeed a hero of his generation. He used him to motivate these students, which was something that he didn't want. However, he couldn't stop him. Jing Hengchen had come much earlier than expected. Jing Hengchen looked at Hua Yuao and said, "The competition shall continue." As he spoke, his figure flashed, and he flew towards the main spectator stand. Hua Yuao sighed in his heart. Forget it, he couldn't realize his wish. The real reason why he'd been so arrogant and provoked the crowd was because he wanted to leave the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. He had learned enough theoretical knowledge over the past half year. Although Sun Zuen never brought him out for any practical experiments, he was now extremely well versed. Theoretically, Hua Yuao combined his own practice and the path that he discovered to make significant progress in his study of soul tools. Don't misunderstand. Hua Yuao didn't intend to leave the academy quickly because he thought that there was nothing left for him to learn. It was because of the Iron Man, which was like a time bomb. He was certain that it was the core essence of the illustrious Virtue Hall's research. With his current theoretical knowledge, he could easily become a top-ranked soul engineer if he could comprehend the Iron Man completely. It wouldn't be a problem even if he had to learn on his own. It wasn't meaningless to remain in the academy. It was dangerous. That was why Hua Yuao pretended to be very arrogant. On the surface, it seemed as if he was trying to obtain more rare medals as he invited more opponents to challenge him. But in truth, he wanted to incur everyone's wrath and end this exchange as soon as possible. However, Jing Hengchen's appearance forced him to change his plans. After all, he couldn't make it too obvious. Otherwise, it would attract the suspicions of others. The second student sparring with Hua Yuao entered the arena after being signaled by Sun Zuen. Compared to the previous competitor, this student looked much more stable. After he entered the arena, he stopped in his waiting area and watched Hua Yuao with a vibrant look in his eyes. He seemed like a volcano that could erupt any time. Hua Yuao acknowledged him mentally. This fight was highly unlikely to be as easy as the previous one. However, the stronger his opponent, the greater his fighting spirit. He squinted his eyes and looked at his opponent before returning to his waiting area. Sun Zuen observed both parties and calmed himself down. Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. Grade 6 student, Wen Yujun, please advise me. The youth who looked older than 20 years shouted. His voice rumbled and was full of a vigorous aura. His figure wasn't exactly huge, but he looked very sturdy. Hua Yuao also lifted his hand and shouted, "Shrek Academy. Hua Yuao, please advise me. Begin." Sun Zuen gestured suddenly and retreated rapidly. Hua Yuao burst forth just like before. The only difference was that a golden light now shone from him as he leapt up. 4 white soul rings rose from his feet. One was especially bright. Wen Yujun had already made sufficient preparations. When Sun Zuen signaled the start of the fight, he backed away quickly and 2 streaks of light shot out from beneath his feet. The lights pushed his body off the ground. More than 10 soul tools appeared on his arms, shoulders, chest and other areas. However, he was stunned when he saw Hua Yuao's white soul rings. This was weird. White soul rings? What was going on? Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.